This set could be perfect, but isn't right now.
See, this old thing, I don't need that. I bought this set mainly for the minifigures, or minifigure I should say.
I already have better versions of the Joker who looks great, but it's just not as detailed as previous version, and Batman for who I can say the same, as well as the new cowl is... I can't decide if I like it. But the true highlight is Two-Face from The Dark Knight.
And I have been wanting this for like at least 15 years.
Because I always loved this older Two-Face version, so here I made some versions combining the two.
And the set itself is not too shabby either, but something feels a little bit off here, and that is that it maybe is a little bit too good. And that, my friends, is because this is not LEGO's official model, this is my modified version. See, this old thing, I don't need that. Except I kind of do, because I did buy LEGO's model to use as a base for my version.
So, here are some flaws with the original design and how to easily fix them with pieces you probably already have. So let's start off with the interior of the build. You'll need these pieces right here. And the first thing that stood out to me was these wheels, which are not in a very dark gray even, so we'll put in a black counterpart here instead to make this a lot sleeker. And next up, I think this engine is a bit chunky, it's weird, it's flat, so we're going to be putting in an astromech head in black, which you can find in some Jedi Starfighters, for example. Right here is the exhaust pipe. And next up, these stud shooters on the sides are super ugly, and we need to remove these pieces and put them upside down instead. And then we're gonna remove this little piece here on the side, and this one we're gonna replace with a cheese slope in black instead. And now this piece from the stud shooter will take off and put on a small 1x1 plate, and this one will just insert right back in here to complete this little modification. And the thing just has such a much better profile when you do this. But there's one thing that still bothers me a lot, and that is this roof, which is just too thick. It looks super weird. So we'll take off the entire roof piece and remove the layer here that is under to make this thing a whole lot slimmer. And this thing will have just enough stability anyways, even if we remove these stabilizing pieces, which I think is their purpose, but we can just place these two back so we're certain that nothing falls apart later. And we'll place this back, but we're gonna see that there's a gap here between the roof and the build. And that means we have to remove some of these pieces. Take all of them off like this, even these two, and these two are the ones that you're not going to be using. So you'll place the others back right here, on one step lower now, and you'll place everything covered back up. And when you put on the roof this time, you'll see that there is no gap, and the profile of this thing is just so much slicker. It looks so good right now, because it's just doesn't have that forehead that it had before. So next up we're moving on to the interior of this thing, and you won't notice it much, but here are the pieces you need, and some of these you don't actually need the exact ones I have, I'll show you. Start off by taking all these bits off right here, and the steering wheel is weird, let's take it off. Batman doesn't have a normal steering wheel, as well as these studs. Put back a 1x1 plate and this thing right here, and then we're putting in a little bit of a control panel right there. Then I'm just tiling off the entire floor in here. You can do this in basically whichever way you want. I'll put in some grill pieces because that's what I have, and just make everything nice and smooth in there. And next up, I'm gonna be putting in a new steering wheel in here because, as I said, we can't let Batman use just a regular old normal one. So we're putting together a couple of these pieces right here, and these are gonna be making up the arm for the steering wheel like this. You'll put it on this thing that we put in earlier, and just like that, it will reach him just fine. And then after that, you can just put everything back together just like this. You can put it on back on the lid right here, and this plate.
And with those changes in place, I really think this set turned out amazing, and it might be my favorite play scale version of the Tumbler. And this one is a bit overpriced, I know, but if you already have some of these minifigures, you can offset the cost by selling them, which is probably what I'm going to do. If you find this one on a discount for maybe like 20% off, I think this one is really worth a pickup, because this Tumbler is really great. And I can say the same about these minifigures use as well.
But what do you guys think? Was this an improvement on the original version, or are you going to keep it just like it was? I'll catch you next time, guys. This was Brickarus, signing off.